and the collective intelligence, at a certain level, can predict what today is not yet available to geophysical instruments. Because collective intelligence is the result of the activity of each living being. Where each living being is like a separate neuron, a carrier of information, it should be said that the collective intelligence is also able to localize the territory, and possibly time, of danger. On December 11, 1980, an earthquake that later became known as the Nazarbek Earthquake hit directly outside the northwest border of the city of Tashkent. With the goal of identifying possible predictive indicators of an upcoming seismic event, EMS, emergency services, call data were analyzed for the period of 1 year prior to that earthquake. Statistical data from both EMS posts directly adjacent to the epicenter and more distant EMS posts were studied. As it turned out, over the 11 days before the first, and most powerful, jolt, the number of calls to EMS began to rise. And for the 3 days before the earthquake, calls were 3.5 times higher than the annual average. The bulk of this peak occurred in the regions located closest to the epicenter. In the more distant stations, no deviations from normal EMS call frequency were observed. Studies like this indicate a possible means of predicting earthquakes that is not limited to EMS call statistics. Practically any reliable set of statistics could be used. For example, statistics on veterinary clinics, 911 service statistics, investment statistics for certain regions and so on. The possibilities are endless. Any well-structured database contains a unique form of collective intelligence. Patent documentation, in this case, is in a rather privileged position. Patenting technologies is an expensive endeavor, and it is precisely for that reason that it can be a sufficiently precise predictive indicator. Patent information contains less informational noise and static. In this case, we are interested in intuitive knowledge, collective intelligence. For example, we are sure that a few years before the economic crisis, inventors should reduce the number of applications for inventions related, for example, to luxury goods and so on. But, it should be noted that for some period before the onset of the economic crisis, some financial analysts warned about its possibility. But what really caught people off guard was the COVID-19 pandemic. We checked the information on how the number of patent applications for certain objects changed over the period of time before the announcement of the pandemic. First of all, we found out which branches of human activity lost profits due to the pandemic, and which industries profited from the pandemic. It must be said that we use the concepts of lost profit or gained profit only to evaluate statistics. Of course, the pandemic has become a tragedy for many people. A lot of them lost their lives and material values. But, we are well aware that the results of these studies can help in predicting future disasters. The following industries have lost profits: tourism, hotels, restaurants, buying tickets, paper media. The following industries have made a profit: everything to do with disinfection, treatment, etc. Food delivery. Also internet services, video games, table games and so on. Then we used a method that anyone, even without special training, can very easily repeat and use. We have entered keywords on the service patents.google.com and we got the following result. Google Patents currently index full-text documents from the following patent offices. Also, Google Patents includes over 120 million patent publications from 100 patent offices around the world, as well as many more technical documents and books indexed in Google Scholar and Google Books, and documents from the prior Art Archive. It should be noted that the graphs reflect a query in patents.google.com in mid-2022. Currently, you should query 2013 to 2016, 2016 to 2019, 2020 to 2024 separately. The following industries have lost profits: tourism, hotels, restaurants. The graphs clearly show that for some period before the pandemic, the number of patents obtained in those industries that were most affected by the pandemic decreased. This is the informational presentiment, intuitive knowledge, collective intelligence. The following industries have made a profit. Everything to do with disinfection, treatment, etc. Food delivery. And it is also clearly visible that for some period before the pandemic, the number of patents increased in those industries that benefited most from the pandemic. We will repeat once again that this is the informational presentiment, intuitive knowledge, collective intelligence. The important question is how to identify catastrophic events. How to recognize, based on patent information databases, when and where these events may occur. One might assume that if the changes identified in patent information databases encompass patents from around the world, then the event would be planetary in scope. However, if the changes with the number of patents are related to a particular region or country, then the event would also be regional. A very important observation. In fact, all of the above signs, the decrease in patenting in the tourism, hotel and restaurant industries, and the dramatic increase in patenting in the medical and delivery industries, could be a harbinger of a wide variety of events. For example, global war, asteroid impact, global social unrest, and so on. A person anticipates the general tension of the system. But what kind of event is likely to occur? Man is obviously not able to anticipate. Perhaps because nature itself does not care what kind of event may occur. But, at the same time, if it turns out that a few years ago the number of patents related to radioactive topics began to increase, then, I think, a person should start to worry.